Jasmine, how often have you caught Gino watching porn?
Several. More often than I want
Several?
to.
No way.
Several? No way, he says in literally the most guilty tone of all time. Come on, Gino, who are you trying to fool? He's been busted. He's been humiliated in front of the world. So go ahead, Jasmine, spill the tea. What exactly have you caught him doing?
Before me, he had like sugar baby
Side chick.
person that will date him because he was paying her. And he was looking at her porn videos. He was looking at her porn videos.
No.
Yeah, brace yourselves because this tell-all is about to get wild. If you thought things were bad before, well, it's got a whole lot worse. Things have really hit the fan between Jasmine and Gino. Now, before we dive into the tell-all drama, let's just rewind to the start of the episode. So this year, they're doing the tell-all slightly differently. They're adding a Big Brother style element to the show. You see, they want everyone who's taking part to stay in the same house. And a beautiful house it is too.
It's my dream house. It's so beautiful. If Gino buys me a house like this, I can guarantee you that all our marriage problems will be solved in the blink of an eye.
Interesting. What an admission to make. Sure, we might have a whole world of issues. Our marriage might be crumbling around us. I might be separated from my kids. But all would be forgiven if he were to stump up the cash and buy me a mansion like this. Yeah, says a lot about where Jasmine's priorities are, doesn't it? Now, unfortunately for Jasmine, not only is she not gonna get a house like this, but she's also not gonna get the bedroom that she wants. Why? Well, much to Jasmine's dismay, Patrick and Thais arrived first, so they've chosen the pick of the bedrooms.
What Thais and Patrick? I mean, give it to the rest of us who have a miserable marriage and live in a miserable place, a miserable life.
Life is so unfair. Why always me? Why can't I have anything nice? She moans. But thankfully, when she goes upstairs and realises that all of the bedrooms are spectacular, Jasmine's moaning eventually dies down. But this is where things start to go downhill fast. You see, husband and wife appear to have their wires crossed. They're not on the same page when it comes to their sleeping arrangements.
You have to still choose yours. You have to still pick up your room.
What do you mean choose mine? This is mine. Look at
Look
this
at the bathroom. I saw it. It's so pretty.
Gino and you aren't staying together?
And sensing that the pretense is up before it's even really started, understanding that Jasmine isn't prepared to play happy families and pretend that all is okay, Gino begrudgingly admits that back home they're not sleeping in the same bedroom anymore. Their sex life has completely disappeared. It's gone, which for a marriage that's less than a year old definitely isn't healthy. I mean, we all know just how important sex is for Jasmine. Like, that's what she wants more than anything. Like, she literally goes as far as to say, Gino, you can sleep in this room, but it would mean you have to sleep with me. But that prospect, the prospect of sleeping with his wife, seems to be too much for Gino to stomach.
So what you're saying though is that the only way I can sleep in the bed with you is that we have sex.
Yes, that's an ultimatum.
And to me, I don't agree with that.
You can't force me to do that, says Gino. And while of course he is right, sex absolutely isn't something that he should feel pressured or forced into doing, it's something he should want to do. The truth is, when later on all the rest of the cast arrive and the guys are around the bar shooting the shit, literally none of the other male castmates can understand Gino's perspective. Like, if that were me, says Patrick, if I was mad at Thais but she wanted sex, I'd be like,
yeah, let's go.
Well, let's go. Like, I don't, there's no.
So what's the issue, Gino, they ask. What's holding you back? What's stopping you from having sex? Well, Gino tries to set the record straight. He tries to assure the guys that he's the same as them. I know, he says, this isn't normal. I would normally have sex with my partners too. But the thing is, he says, I've never experienced someone who argues and fights as much as Jasmine does.
I understand that because that's how I've been in my past relationships. I did not have a problem with sex in my past.
But now the yelling and fighting gets to you?
Well, no, I've never had this much yelling and fighting in my life. Not even close.
Now, of course, we all know that this is a tale as old as time. Like, this certainly isn't the first time that Gino's complained about this. And as ever, like always, he's placing all the blame on Jasmine. None of this is his fault, he wants all the boys to believe. But if we're gonna play the blame game, then it takes two to tango. And when we join them the next day at the studio, it immediately becomes apparent that something bad has happened between them that morning. Something that wasn't picked up by the cameras.
Jasmine and I, we got in an argument this morning, and she's yelling and screaming at me at the top of her lungs, pulling my clothes out of my suitcase and throwing them on the ground, telling me to get out.
Yeah, again, Gino is doing his utmost to make it seem like this was all completely one-sided. It's all Jasmine's fault. She went ballistic and started throwing my clothes around, yelling at me, he wants us to believe. But Jasmine, well, she tells a completely different story. A story where Gino isn't quite as innocent as he tries to make out.
He needed to change his outfit, but I was getting dressed and I didn't feel comfortable getting undressed in front of him. And it started an argument and we started yelling at each other.
Yeah, Gino, that's a vital piece of the puzzle that you forgot to mention. Gino apparently walked into Jasmine's bedroom and expected to be able to stand there while she got changed. But things have got so bad between them that Jasmine is no longer comfortable with him watching her get changed. And of course, that is her prerogative. If she's not comfortable, then Gino has no right to watch her. It's not his bedroom. They slept in different rooms. The correct thing to do in that situation would have been to give her 5 minutes to get changed and come back later. But instead, he refused to do that, and it descended into an argument. An argument that's got so petty that the pair of them have come to the tell-all in separate vehicles. Gino's even refused to help her with her suitcases.
This morning, he was super rude to me, yelling at me. He didn't even help me with the bags or anything. Super rude.
Not after you're a bitch.
Now, I'm not sure if Jasmine was aware that behind that curtain, Gino was getting changed. Like, it may well be that she was venting to Big Ed, knowing full well that Gino was listening. Or it might be that she had no clue whatsoever. Either way, with Gino interrupting her to call her a bitch, Jasmine is now even more vexed than she was before. She's more than ready to air their dirty laundry in front of all the prying eyes, right here, right now, before they've even made it to the stage. I refuse to get changed in front of you, Gino, she says, with everyone listening. I'm not comfortable around you. And perhaps trying to prevent another full-scale argument right now? It's at this point that Emily intervenes.
You want to share a room with me?
Just your mind.
So good.
Yeah, that says everything that you need to know about the state of Gino and Jasmine's marriage. Like, forget the sharing of a bedroom, watching her change, forget the lack of intimacy. Just look at Jasmine's language. She's begging to be saved. Like, by Jasmine's own admission, she's miserable. And it's not just this argument today. Like, this is her life. She's living a miserable existence. And that's just not sustainable. At least, it's not sustainable unless he buys her a mansion. But I think that's the last thing on Gino's mind right now.
Everyone's telling me, oh, Gino, be intimate with Jasmine. Why aren't you intimate with her? This is why. This is exactly why. Because her attitude and how she treats me like dirt. This is not the kind of person I want to be with.
Now, it's with this context that we next join Gino and Jasmine on stage. The tell-all has begun, and husband and wife are made to sit next to each other, something I'm sure neither of them really wants to do. And sensing their tension, Sean begins with what should be an easy question. She asks, what's the status of your relationship right now?
It's very bad. I still love Gino. I'm not quite sure about he is still loving me.
Yes, I do.
I mean, I don't think Gino could sound any less convincing if he tried, could he? You say you love me, says Jasmine, but I don't feel like that. All you do is try to control me, she says. You try to dictate everything, whether it's money, where we go, when we go, even me going to the gym. You even try to control that, says Jasmine. But Gino disagrees, but it's very interesting how passive he is in his disagreement. He's very meek with his defence. There's a lot of umming and ahhing.
Yeah, I don't control, her life like that.
Yes, you do.
I will say, hey, let's try not to drive during rush hour traffic.
No, Gino, no, sorry, I'm not buying it. We literally saw with our own two eyes when you demanded that she cut her workout short so that you could go and get yourself a smoothie. Now, the cast go on to ask Jasmine, do you have a driver's license? Can you not go about by yourself, not be reliant on Gino? To which Jasmine initially gives a very self-defeatist answer.
I'm nobody in this country.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm nobody, still nobody.
No, she's just took the test for driver's test.
I did it myself.
So the answer to the question was that Jasmine does now have a driver's license, but she really did try to get as much sympathy there as possible, didn't she? I'm nobody in this country, but yeah, I've taken and passed the test, but I did it all myself. He didn't help. The truth is slightly different to what she wants us to believe. She's not quite as helpless as she's painting out here. In all honesty, for as much as she maintains she did everything herself, and for as much as Gino disagrees, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And Gino uses this to try and make a point.
This credit that she gives me for the driver's license is the same kind of credit she's given me for going through all the K1 process myself.
So given that you've just brought this up, let's talk about this, says Sean. What exactly is the latest with Jasmine's paperwork? Have you applied for her adjustment of status yet? To which Gino confirms that he has. The paperwork has all now been completed. It's being processed. I've filed for her permanent residency and next will come her work authorization, he says. But, ominously, when it comes to her green card, he says this.
No, I'm not going to continue the green card process if our relationship is falling apart rapidly.
Exactly.
Then you shouldn't have brought her over here. You
You're
can't
to the
hold it over
United
their
States.
head. Either you're going to go through with it or you're not.
Yeah, Ashley is absolutely right here. What he's doing is effectively trying to use a green card as a bargaining chip. If she doesn't fall into line with what I want, what I expect, then I won't give her a green card. But there's no two ways to see that. That is incredibly controlling. He's using it as a form of leverage, and that's f***ed up. It negates his whining that he should be getting more credit from Jasmine for what he's done. And things only get worse for Gino when cousin Dana and his wife Michelle come on stage.
Do you see any control issues on Gino's part?
He doesn't really offer to do much for her, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, it really doesn't look good for Gino when his own cousins are taking Jasmine's side. They're reiterating what she has to say. He sits around at home, says Michelle, but still refuses to take Jasmine to the gym. It's a 10-minute journey. So what's the problem? Asks Sean. Why is that? What are you doing at home all day? You don't have a job, so why is a 10-minute drive such a big deal?
No, what I was busy doing is processing a lot of the permanent residency paperwork, all the green card paperwork and all that stuff.
For 7 months?
Yeah, again, doesn't look good for you, Gino. He's been sitting around jobless for 7 months watching American football, by the sounds of things. I mean, if the lockdown boom in babies was anything to go by, most people, when stuck at home for that length of time, would be occupying themselves in the bedroom. But that's clearly not the case for these two either.
Jasmine, how long has it been since you've been intimate?
It's gonna be 8 months.
8 months.
No, it
You've
hasn't
not
been
had
8
sex.
months.
Nothing.
8 months, no.
And yet again, Gino places all the blame on Jasmine's shoulders. It's her fault we don't have sex. She's always arguing with me. We're always fighting. It makes me lose my libido, he says. But this excuse of his has been way overplayed.
You don't know the kind of fights that we get into. and it gets really intense at times, okay? And
Hey, Gino, have you ever heard of makeup sex?
I don't do that.
Yeah, clearly you don't do that, or any sex, it seems. Jasmine tells us she's left feeling totally rejected. Not only does he not want sex, he doesn't let me kiss him, we don't even hug. Things are so bad, in fact, that...
He doesn't even want me to see him naked. He has a problem with me seeing him naked.
No, I don't mind that.
I have never seen you completely naked, Gino. Never.
Isn't that interesting? It's interesting that Gino has never wanted to be seen naked in front of his wife, and that's now gone full circle. She's been so badly emotionally hurt, she feels so rejected and so low, that she too also doesn't want to be naked in front of him. So if they're not active together, is he keeping busy by himself? Asks Sean.
Let me ask this question. Jasmine, how often have you caught Gino watching porn?
Several. More often than I want
Several?
to.
No way.
No way, he says, in what must be the least convincing thing we've ever heard Gino say. Now, Jasmine goes on to say that she's literally come home to find him in the middle of an act. And don't even get me started on what I discovered just a few weeks ago, she says. Go ahead, Gino, tell the world what you've been looking up.
But I'm not addicted to it. I don't
Gino,
watch it a lot.
I want you to
anything
admit, what videos were you looking for?
Look at Gino's gulp. He knows he's about to get exposed for whatever dirty shit he's into. So what is it? What's his deal? What is it that actually floats this guy's boat? Well, Jasmine sets the context. She tells us before he met me, Gino used to go out with lots of sugar babies. And guess what I found in his search history?
And he was looking at her porn videos. He was looking at her porn videos.
No.
Oh, Gino. Busted, mate. You dirty old man. Let's not forget, this is a man who's sending nudes of Jasmine to his exes and watching videos of his exes rather than sleeping with his wife. Yeah, frankly, I'm surprised that Jasmine is keeping her cool as she recounts this story. Jasmine of old would have absolutely lost her shit, wouldn't she? So I think the fact that she's saying this in such a calm, matter-of-fact manner tells us that the love she may have once had is definitely no longer there. Yeah, is it any wonder when her husband does stuff like this that Jasmine feels rejected, that Jasmine no longer wants to get dressed near him?
From all the pornography that you could consume in the world, why would you looking at her?
There's no excuse, Gino. Nothing you can say is gonna make that okay. In fact, nothing you can say is gonna fix this broken marriage. Game over, folks. This is as good as dead.